I recently moved to Munich. If you didn't know, my mother and father-in-law has been so generous with us in so many different ways. In all honesty, without them, we would have had much harder lives. My father-in-law is a bit like me. When he likes something, he just buys it for himself on a random Monday. So it was a bit difficult for my wife and I to find something that he can use often and appreciate and doesn't have. A small gesture of goodwill because of what he and his wife have done for us. 1,000 thank you would not be enough, but we can always start somewhere. I'm sure the title gave it away. We bought him a Rimowa suitcase. He is a successful businessman who does travel often. He has a good suitcase, but a man of his stature, he deserved Rimowa. I mainly bought it because he travels often. He loved made in Germany because, German make great shit. I don't blame him. His current luggage is good, but Rimowa does make the best luggage. If you look up the best luggage, Rimowa is on top because their SEO game is amazing. I especially love how smooth the wheels are. That was the main reason I got these. Maybe I'll make a review of this beautiful luggage one day, but for today's video, I want to talk about the cult following of Rimowa luggage. People genuinely collect these suitcases, worship these suitcases. I can't really judge them because I collect Rick. We all love certain product. I simply want to find out why and how Rimowa, more specifically LVMH, helped boost this utilitarian product that is a fucking suitcase into a flexible garment attuned to the likes of Alexander McQueen big ass shoes, LV bags, Hermes scarves. I should preface by saying I don't have a problem with these people flexing their luggage. I don't care what another person does with their money. I simply want to put fingers to laptop and find out why this piece of aluminum traveling storage is now a status symbol. Fine, I'll explain it instead of simply stating a broad statement and hope people agree and don't ask me for specific. First, prices. When something is expensive, it becomes a status symbol. Look at Amiri, look at Mastermind, look at Moncler. Even if your products are inferior to your competitors, the high price will be able to fool enough people that simply buy because they're expensive. Walk down any street that have LV, Chanel, Cartier. For Munich, it's Bond Street. You'll see people that wear and act a certain way to flex what they're wearing, flex their wallet, flex their lifestyle. I will be using Rimowa, Samsonite, and Away for this video to prove my point. I got this carry-on suitcase for 1.3k. Away has their carry-on for 650. Samsonite has theirs for 750. The point is, Rimowa priced their item much higher and doesn't offer much higher features. I just want to say much higher again to flow my writing. If you look at what they offer, practically the same. Big pictures. Don't get lost in the sauce. Don't be too semantic. I already have a semantic wife to deal with. I don't need some of you to point out, well, Samsonite warranty is only 10 years, so it's not practically the same. Shut up, nerds. By the way, 1.3k is not nothing. I am very fortunate to be in the position to give something of this value to my loved ones. A lot of people don't got that in their checking account, so I am forever grateful to be in the position that I am in today. There's a term called prestige pricing or premium pricing. According to Indeed, prestige pricing is a strategy in which companies charge a higher price for a product to convince consumers the product is a better quality. Prestige or premium pricing focuses on using pricing as part of the marketing plan to establish a product as exclusive. The exclusivity of the product can make it more attractive to some consumers. That extra $600 people have to spend can make them feel better. We can tie this into Vemblem good, which is another marketing term that states a Vemblem good is a good for which demand increases as the price increases due to the exclusivity, due to the exclusive nature and appeal as a status symbol. In fashion terms, for all you dum-dum out there, my CCP leather jacket costs $5,000. Your Celine or Rick Owens are only $3,000, $4,000. So my CCP is better, more desirable. It counters the regular notion that if the price decreases, demand will rise. Not all brands can do this, by the way, and you need to be able to connect the prestige pricing to other strategy in which we will fade out and the word will come in slowly. Ooh. If you're not familiar, LVMH acquired majority stake in Rimowa in 2016-2017 for 80% at the price of 640 million euros, and they have tried to increase awareness of the brand. For suitcase enthusiasts, they've known of Rimowa because they've been in business since 1898. By the way, just learned after researching this video, Rimowa is an acronym for Richard, Morzek, and Warren Zeitchen. The more you know. They started to use aluminum because in 1930s there was a fire in their factory and burned most of their other materials. The infamous grooves were introduced in 1950. According to Rimowa.com. The person that was in charge of rebranding Rimowa from simply utilitarian to fashion it suitcase was Hector Mulas. Apologies for pronouncing your last name wrong.
Hector Mulas,
who is the chief brand officer. My man has a super impressive resume. Please give me a job, Hector. One of the ways they were able to elevate Rimowa past Away, Samsonite, and other suitcase brands were collaborating with LVMH other luxury brands. By the way, Rimowa has collaborated with other brands prior to LVMH takeover, but after they started to collab with more fashion brand or like at a faster pace. Actually, they did do a collab with Babe from 2008 and 2010, but not a lot of people knew of this. I didn't know of this. This is why the marketing budget of a movie is the same or more as the budget to create a movie. If you got a product and people don't know about it, when they come out where they can go buy it, no one will care. Rimowa did a collab with Porsche from 2013, 2015. While yes, Porsche is a really well-known car brand, but the people that knew Porsche had already known of Rimowa. Similar to people who knows a vacation at St. Moritz already know Laura Penis before the stealth level fashion became a trend. In 2017, Rimowa did a collab with Ass because if you were a brand, you wanted the Ass logo on your product in that year. Ass had a lockdown on the streetwear scene. I can't back it up with fact, but this was definitely the work of LVMH to get in on that. In 2017, 2018, they collaborated with Fendi, which is owned by LVMH. I believe this was the first time Rimowa was on the runway, correct me if I'm wrong. Putting them on the runway, it brings a different type of exposure. Sure, a collab with Porsche is great, but the best you can get out of that is promotional video and a few poster and Instagram posts. A runway, that's a different type of exposure. You got celebrity attending the runway, so they're talking about the runway. You got magazine and newspaper writing and posting about the collab. A lot of people watch the runway. It's an incredible form of marketing. Expensive, but if you can, great for your brand. It legitimizes the product when they're on the runway. Then they did a collab with Supreme, which I believe is the second biggest. Again, Supreme had a chokehold on the streetwear scene in 2018. They also collaborated with Off-White, which is also owned by LVMH. I believe LVMH bought Off-White in 2018, but they had a stake in Off-White already. Virgil was now the CD of LV in 2018 as well. Anyway, another collaboration with LVMH owned brand. The biggest collab in my opinion was with Dior for Spring Summer 2020. Showed up on so many looks. When was the last time you saw or heard of Away or Samsonite collaborating with anyone? They hire influencer, but Rimowa, they hire A-list stars. Different level of rich. You got LeBron James, Rihanna, Patti Smith, Roger Federer, Noble, the guy who was named after that restaurant, Kylian Mbappe, Lewis Hamilton. No shades to influencer, but the reach of Mbappe is just different. I definitely over-explained that. Aspirational marketing and celebrity endorsement, at that point, it's not about selling a product, they're now selling a lifestyle. Rimowa wants the cachet and street creds from the other brand because at its core, it's a boring luggage that is meant to be utilitarian. If you want people to view it as something more, you need the coolness from Supreme. You need the high fashion status from Dior. Okay, so I wrote all of that. While editing, I found this article by Business of Fashion. I found a quote that I want to dissect. One thing we have voluntarily never done is have a collaboration committee where we say, okay, we need to target 18 to 34 years old that have this net worth because we need to be cool with millennial, he said. A lot of brands are doing that today. As a millennial myself, I think it's very dangerous and scary because when a brand targets people like me, I feel it immediately and kind of run away. This is Alexander Arnold, the CEO of Remote. Well, he was the CEO. It's now Hugues Bonnet Mesobert. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. I agree with this statement, but we need to talk about mere exposure effect. This was coined by Robert Zatron. Again, apologize for mispronunciation. In 1968, which stated that the mere exposure effects refer to the way that people tend to have a more favorable view of things they're familiar with as a result of repeated exposure to them. This is why you see big household name brands still doing marketing and advertising. The first few exposures someone has to the ads are more potent than later ones, so it made sense that Alexander chose to do collab with brands that have cachet, as talked about earlier. When you go on Rimowa, it's sleek, it's minimal, it screams high class. 8K photos, video, monochromatic color scheme. To prove that this is the work of LVMH, take a look at the Rimowa website back in 2013. It looks more like a luggage company. Granted, I can only access the front page. I hope that's enough to show you that once LVMH bought Rimowa, they modernized it, corporatized it, made it look more high-end, more high class. It wasn't about the product and heritage of traveling anymore. It was now about clean-cut high fashion. The first thing you see when you go on Samsonite, hey, here's a 30% off discount. We'll talk discount later. Just having the word sale as one of your big talking points just lose you a lot of points when you're talking status symbol. Rimowa really focused on brand storytelling, not a lot of CTA or call to action buttons. They're essentially saying that most of you won't be able to afford it, so we're not even gonna bother asking you to buy it now because we're scared you're gonna click out of the website. They're kind of daring you to get out. With Away, the first thing you see is shop now. Rimowa uses words such as explore, discover. It's a bit more high class, words, color scheme. It can make a big impact. Samsonite kind of know that they can't get the rich consumer or don't want, so their website is very sale driven. They don't even care about storytelling or branding that much. The UX is utilitarian and functional. Samsonite are also sold at so many different retailers, so they lose that exclusivity. This is why Michael Kors lost their touch as high fashion. You're not really high fashion anymore when your products are sold at Marshalls and Target. a way, in my opinion, they're marketing their product as a cheaper alternative to Rimowa. Their website says this, or should I say scream this. There's this segment of the welcoming page where they show reviews from customers. They feel they need to prove that their product are good. Rimowa, they don't give a shit. They also got a segment where they're showing quotes from magazine and newspaper talking good about them. Not very classy, very I need to prove myself to you. This segment was also added later because I wanted to find out what life was like at Rimowa pre-LVMH and stumble upon the same Business of Fashion article. This article validated a lot of my opinions. I was happy to find it and prove my hypothesis was right. Let's look at some quotes now. In 2015, it had more than 5,000 points of sale, many of which were independent travel stores, which would price the product any which way they like. About 80% of the business was done through wholesale or franchise partnerships. This meant that pricing was wildly inconsistent. A case could be €800 in one place, €400 in another. Making the prices consistent across the board made consumer more likely to buy it at the moment that they want to buy it. If I know I can find it cheaper, I will look for hours on end. The con of that is if I look hard enough, there might be a better brand, a better product. I might become overwhelmed because what if I could have saved $200 more had I looked harder? So this incentivized me to not buy it right away and just continuously to look. You don't want the consumer to think. You want them to buy it now, and bringing the products in-house made that much easier, and exclusivity, blah, 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 blah. I think we can all agree that when we see high-end products at discounted stores such as Target, Marshalls, we lose a bit of respect for them, kind of like, damn, you're that desperate right now? Today, the breakdown of business has flipped. 80% of sales are made directly through the company store, but 20% contributed by multi-brand retailers and a few remaining franchise agreements. There are just 500 points of sale, including 105 directly owned stores. Sales, of course, drop initially, but with LVMH backing, they could afford to be unprofitable for short term. Alexander was thinking long term, which I admire and respect. I'll give you the perfect example. I wanted to do something nice for my mother. Originally, she wanted to get a Burberry bag because Burberry got a chokehold on the Asian market. They love the Burberry check. Anyway, we were at Burberry and she said, I like this bag a lot. I then told, okay, keep that in mind. Let's go look at LV. We got to LV and I said, here's a never full bag. You say the word I like it, I'll buy it right now. And we bought it right there. I was hesitant to buy the Burberry because they go on sale. So if my mom really had her eyes set on that bag, I would go through a shit ton of websites to try to find them for cheaper. Burberry also have outlet stores and are at outlet shops like Nordstrom and Saks off Fifth and whatnot. So it was not ideal to buy it right there and then. No sales equal higher perceived value. When you discount a product, it signals to the consumer that's not worth the MSRP. This brings it to the resale market or investment piece. The lack of discount keep the resale market at a healthy level for Rimowa. I don't even think people sell their Away or Samsonite on Grail. If they do, I'm pretty sure they lose a shit ton of value. The lack of sale of Rimowa make it so that when someone wants to sell their Rimowa suitcase, they can get most of their money back or more if it's a special collaboration. It's really a sign of here's our product. If you want it now, buy it now. We would never lower the price. My mother example should have been enough. I'm definitely over-explaining myself again. According to Boost My Shop, I just needed the definition. Okay, I don't know what that website sell or offer. Price positioning is the art of selling your product or service at a particular price point that aligns with the perceived value by your customers. It's about finding the sweet spot that balances between customer affordability and revenue generating for your business. This kind of connects to my first point, but I'm insecure, so I must try to prove to you that I know my shit by using marketing terms that I learned at university. I swear to God, if one of you fuckers said, well, Rimowa was already successful before LVMH got there, they were gonna achieve this level of exposure anyway. Shut up, you semantic nerd. We don't like you. It's all marketing.